I'm not sure if this is working. I'm not sure if this is working. Oh shit, it is. I'm not sure if this is working. Oh shit, it is. Alright, now I actually have to do stuff. I'm not sure if this is working. Oh shit, it is. Alright, now I actually have to do stuff. Change the I need a better profile picture. Oops. This brand was nice. This one, I guess. It's the only one I can see. Alright, I'm putting on Elon.
They were very involved in the banning, the shadow banning, the censorship, which I don't think we ever had definitive evidence of that before. That was pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, and the U.S. House of Representatives had hearings on the matter, and a lot of this, was unearthed. It's public record. So a lot of people, some people on the left still think this is like made up. I'm like, this is just literally these Twitter files are literally the files at Twitter. I mean, we're literally just talking about these are the emails that were sent internally that confirm this. This is what's on the Slack channels. And this is what is shown on the Twitter database as where people have made either suspensions or shadow bans.
Has the government come and asked you to take stuff down since, or they just have to? The policy is, hey, listen, you got to file a warrant, you got to come correct, as opposed to just putting pressure on executives.
Our policy at this point is to follow the law.
Guys, I do get the fucking pop-up out my fucking face, man. I can't even click on it. Your fucking website is shit, man. I can't even add my email if I wanted to.
Because that's not the law there. And if we don't obey the law, we'll simply be blocked in that country. The policy is really just adhere to the laws in any given country.
Compartment,
It is not up to agree or disagree with those laws. If
compartmentalize.
Of that country wants the laws to be different, then they should, ask their leaders to change the laws.
Yeah.
But anything but as soon as you start going beyond the law, now you're putting a thumb on the scale.
Are they really not gonna fix this?
Is just adhere to the laws within any given country. Now sometimes we get, in a bit of a bind, like we got into with Brazil, where
is it a Chrome thing?
This judge in Brazil was asking us or telling us to break the law in Brazil.
Chrome,
and ban accounts contrary to the law of Brazil. And now we're somewhat stuck. We're like, wait a second, we're reading the law and it says this is not allowed to happen, and also that giving us a gag order. So like we're not allowed to say it's happening, and we have to break the law, and the judge is telling us to break the law. The law is breaking the law. That's where things get very difficult. And we were actually banned in Brazil for a while because of that.
I just want to make one final point on the free speech issue, and then we can move on. It's just, I think people forget that the censorship wasn't just about COVID. There was a growing number of categories of thought and opinion that were being outlawed. The quote content moderation, which is another speech was constantly growing.
Yes.
And more people were being banned or shadow banned. There was more things that you couldn't say. This trend of censorship was growing, it was galloping, and it would have continued if it wasn't, I think, for the fact that you decided to buy Twitter and opened it up. And it was only on the heels of that the other social networks were willing to, I think, be a little bit chastened in their policies and start to push back more.
Yeah, that's right. Once Twitter broke ranks, the others had to, it became very obvious what the others were doing, and so they had to mitigate their censorship substantially because of what Twitter did. And I mean, perhaps to give them some credit, they also felt that they had the air cover to be more inclined towards free speech. They still do a lot of sort of shadow banning and whatnot at the other social media companies, but it's much less than it used to be.
Elon, what have you seen in terms of like governments creating new laws? So we've seen a lot of this crackdown in the UK on what's being called hateful speech on social media, and folks getting arrested and actually going to prison over it. And it seems like when there's more freedom, the side that is threatened by that comes out and creates their own counter, right? There's a reaction to that, and there seems to be reaction. Are you seeing more of these laws around the world in response to your opening up free speech through Twitter and those changes and what they're enabling, that the governments and the parties that control those governments aren't aligned, and they're stepping in and saying, let's create new ways of maintaining our control through law?
Yeah, there's been an overall global movement to suppress free speech under the name of under the guise of suppressing hate speech. But then the problem with that is that the freedom of speech only matters if people are allowed to say things that you don't like, or even things that you hate. Because if you're allowed to suppress speech that you don't like, then and you don't have freedom of speech, and it's only a matter of time before things switch around, and then the shoe's on the other foot, and they will suppress you. So suppress not, lest you be suppressed. But there is a movement, and there was a very strong movement to codify speech suppression into the law throughout the world, and including the West world. Europe and Australia.
UK and Germany were very aggressive in this regard.
Yes, and my understanding is that in the UK there's something like 2,000 or 3,000 people in prison for social media posts. And in fact, there's so many people that were in prison for social media posts, and many of these things are like you can't believe that someone would actually be put in prison for this. They have in a lot of cases released people who have committed violent crimes in order to imprison people who have simply made posts on social media, which is deeply wrong. And underscores why the founders of this country made the First Amendment. The First Amendment was freedom of speech. Why did they do that? It's because in the place that they came from, there wasn't freedom of speech, and you could be imprisoned or killed for saying things.
Can I ask you a question just to maybe move to a different topic? If you came and did this next week, we will be past the Tesla board move. We talked about it last week, and we talked about how crazy ISS and Glass Lewis is.
Right.
We use this one insane example where, like, Ira Ehrenpreis didn't get the recommendation from ISS and Glass Lewis because he didn't meet the gender requirements, but then Kathleen also didn't.
It doesn't make sense.
Can you? So the board vote is on the 6th. So
it was an African American woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, they recommended against her, but then also recommended against our enterprise on the grounds it was insufficiently diverse. So I'm like, these things don't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I do think about a fundamental issue with corporate governance in publicly traded companies, where you've got about half of the stock market is controlled by passive index funds, and most of them outsource their decision to advisory firms, and particularly Glass Lewis and ISS. I call them corporate ISIS. So I was going to say, all they do is basically they're just terrorists. And they own no no stock in any of these companies.
Right.
So I think that there's a fundamental breakdown of fiduciary responsibility here, where really, any company that's managing, uh, even though they're passively managing, index funds or whatever, they do at the end of the day have a fiduciary duty to vote, along the lines of what would maximize the shareholder returns, because people are counting on them. Like people, have say, you know, so have all their savings in say 401k or something like that, um, and they're counting on the index funds to vote, to do company votes in the direction that would ensure that their retirement savings do as well as possible. But the problem is that that is then outsourced to ISS and Glass Lewis, which have been infiltrated by far left activists. Because where far left, where basically political activists go. They go where the power is. And so effectively, Glass Lewis and ISS control the vote of half the stock market. Now, if you're a political activist, you know what a great place would be to go work? ISS or Glass Lewis, and they do. So my concern for the future, because this the Tesla thing is called sort of compensation, but really it's not about compensation. It's not like I'm going to go out and buy a yacht with it or something. It's just that if I'm going to build up Optimus and have all these robots out there, I need to make sure we do not have a Terminator scenario, and that I can maximize the safety of the robots. Um, and but I feel like I need to have something like a 25% vote, which is enough of a vote to have a strong influence, but not so much of a vote that I can't be fired if I go insane. So it's kind of, but my concern would be, creating this army of robots and then being fired for political reasons, because of ISS and Glass Lewis, declined to ISIS and Glass Lewis fire me effectively, or the activists at those firms fire me, even though I've done everything right.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
And then you've got and then I cannot ensure the safety of the robots.
If you don't get that vote, it doesn't go your way. It looks like it's going to. Would you leave? I mean, is that even in the cards? I heard the board was very concerned about that.
Let's just say I'm not going to build a robot army, if I can be easily kicked out by activist investors. No way.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And who is capable of running the 4 or 5 major product lines at Tesla? I mean, this is the madness of it. It's a very complex business. People don't understand what's under the hood there. It's not just a car company. You got batteries, you got trucks, you got the self-driving group, and this is a very complex business that's you've built over decades now. It's not a very simple thing to run. I don't think there's a Elon equivalent out there who can just jump into the cockpit.
By the way, if we take a full turn around corporate governance corner, also this week, what was interesting about the OpenAI restructuring was I read the letter, and your lawsuit was excluded from the allowances of the California Attorney General, basically saying this thing can go through, which means that your lawsuit is still out there, right? And I think it's going to go to a jury trial.
Yes.
So that corporate governance thing is still very much in question. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, I believe that will go to jury trial in February or March, and then we'll see what the results are there. But
Ooh, reversible padding. Obviously, I know about that, but I didn't think of that in this. That won't work for a technical jacket.
An open source nonprofit. It's literally, that's the exact description in the incorporation documents. And in fact, the incorporation documents explicitly say that no officer or founding member will benefit financially from OpenAI. And they've completely violated that. And moreover, you can just use the Wayback Machine and look at the website of OpenAI. Again, open source nonprofit, the whole way, until it looked like, wow, there's a lot of money to be gained here, and then suddenly it starts changing, and they try to change the definition of OpenAI mean open to everyone instead of open source, even though it always meant open source. I came up with the name.
Yeah.
That's how I know.
So, uh, if they open sourced it, or they gave you, I mean, you don't need the money, but if they gave you the percentage ownership in it that you would be rightfully, uh, which 50 million for a startup would be half at least, but they
Yeah.
must have made an overture towards you and said, hey, can we just give you 10% of this thing and give us your blessing? You obviously have a different goal here, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, since I came up with the idea for the company, named it, provided the A, B, and C corporation. I probably own half the company. So, but I could have chosen to do that. If it was totally at my discretion, I could have done that. But I created it as a nonprofit for the world, an open source nonprofit for the world.
Do you think the right thing to do is to take those models and just open source them today? If you could affect that change, is that the right thing to do?
Yeah, I think that is what it was created to do. So it should. I mean, the best open source models right now, actually, ironically, because Faith seems to be an irony maximizer. Um, the best open source models are generally from China.
Yeah.
Like that's bizarre. And then I think the second best one is, or maybe it's better than second best, but like the Grok 2.5 open source model is actually very good, um, and I think would probably be, and we'll continue to open source our models. But, but whereas like try using any of the recent the OpenAI open source models, they don't work. They open sourced a broken, non-working version of their models as a fig leaf. I mean, do you know anyone who's running OpenAI's open source models? Exactly.
Yeah, nobody. We've had a big debate about jobs here. Obviously, there's going to be job displacement. You and I have talked about it for decades. What's your take on the pace of it? Because obviously, you're building self-driving software, you're building Optimus.
Yeah.
We're seeing Amazon take some steps here where they're like, yeah, we're probably not going to hire these positions in the future, and maybe they're getting rid of people now because they were bloated, but maybe some of it's AI. It's all debatable. What do you think the timeline is, and what do you think as a society we're going to need to do to mitigate it if it goes too fast?
Well, I call AI the supersonic tsunami. So, so I'm not the most company description in the world, but
It's fast and big.
If there was a tsunami, a giant wall of water moving faster than the speed of sound, that's AI.
When does it land?
Yeah, exactly. So, now this is happening whether I wanted to or not. I actually try to slow down AI, by the way. And then the reason, the reason I wanted to create OpenAI was to serve as a counterweight to Google, because at the time Google was sort of essentially had unilateral power in AI. They had all the AI essentially, Larry Page was not, he was not taking AI safety seriously. I don't know, Jason, I'm sure. Were you there when he called me a speciesist?
Yes, I was there. Yeah.
Okay, so
you were more concerned about the human race than you were about the machines, and you had a clear bias for humanity.
Yes, I was exactly. I was like, Larry, well, we need to make sure that the AI doesn't destroy all the humans. And then he called me a speciesist, like racist or something, for being pro human intelligence instead of machine intelligence. I'm like, well, Larry, what side are you on? I mean, that's kind of a concern. And then at the time, Google had essentially a monopoly on AI.
Yeah, they bought DeepMind, which you were on the board of, had an investment in. Larry and Sergey had invested in as well, and it's really interesting.
I found out about it because I told him about it. I showed him some stuff from DeepMind, and I think that's how I found out about it and acquired them. Actually, I gotta be careful what I say. But the point is that it's like, look, Larry's not taking AI safety seriously, and Google had essentially all the AI and all the computers and all the money, and I'm like, this is a unipolar world where the guy in charge is not taking things seriously, so and called me a speciesist for being pro-human. What do you do in those circumstances? Yeah.
Build a competitor.
Yes. So OpenAI was created essentially as the opposite, which is an open source nonprofit, the opposite of Google. Now, unfortunately, it needs to change its name to Closed for Maximum Profit AI.
Yeah.
For maximum profit, to be clear. The most amount of, I want to go for the most amount of profit you can possibly get.
I mean,
it is like makes sense.
It's comical.
Like,
I mean, when you hear Sam,
like, there's an irony maximized. You have to like, what is the most ironic outcome for a company that was created to do open source, non-profit AI is it's super closed source. It's tighter than Knox. The AI, OpenAI source code is locked up tighter than Fort Knox. And they are going for maximum profit, like a maximum, like get the bourbon, the steak knife,
right? Yeah, I mean,
you know,
it's
like they're going for the buffet, and they're just diving headfirst into the profit buffet. I mean, it's just
yes.
or at least aspiration, the revenue buffet at least. Profit, we'll see.
I mean, it's like
Sam,
Sam.
ravenous wolves for revenue. Ravenous wolves. Revenue buffet.
No, it's literally like super villain. It's like Bond villain level flip. Like it went from being United Nations to being Spectre in like James Bond land.
Yeah.
When you hear him say, "I'm gonna," when Sam says he's gonna like raise 1.4 trillion to build out data centers.
Yeah, no, but I think he means it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I would say audacious, but I wouldn't want to, insult the word.
Actually, I have a question about this.
How is that possible?
In the earnings call, you said something that was insane, and then I think the math actually nets up. But you said we could connect all the Teslas and allow them in downtime to actually offer up inference, and you can string them all together. I think the math is like it could actually be like 100 gigawatts. Is that right?
So if ultimately there's a Tesla fleet that is 100 million vehicles, which I think we probably will get to at some point, 100 million vehicle fleet, and they have mostly state-of-the-art inference computers in them that each say are a kilowatt of inference compute, and they have built-in power and cooling and connect to Wi-Fi.
That's the key. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, and you'd have 100 gigawatts of inference compute.
Elon, do you think that the architecture, like there was an attention-free model that came out the last week? There's been all of these papers, all of these new models that have been shown to reduce power per token of output by many, many, many orders of magnitude. Like not just an order of magnitude, but like maybe 3 or 4. Like, what's your view and all the work you've been doing on where we're headed in terms of power per unit of compute or per token of output?
Well, we have a clear example of power efficient compute, which is the human brain. Our brains use about 20 watts of power, and of that, only about 10 watts is higher brain function. Most of it's, half of it is just housekeeping functions of, keeping your heart going, breathing, and that kind of thing. So you've got maybe 10 watts of higher brain function in a human. And we've managed to build civilization with 10 watts of a biological computer. And that biological computer has like a 20-year, boot sequence. So it's pretty fun. But it's very power efficient. So given that humans are capable of inventing, general relativity and quantum mechanics, and or discovering general relativity, like inventing aircraft, lasers, the internet, and discovering physics with a 10-watt meat computer, essentially, then there's clearly a massive opportunity for improving the efficiency of AI compute. It's because it's currently many orders of magnitude away from that. And it's still the case that a 100 megawatt or even a gigawatt AI supercomputer at this point can't do everything that a human can do. It will be able to, but it can't yet. Like I said, we've got this obvious case of human brains being very power efficient and achieving and building civilization with 10 watts of compute. And a very slow, and our bandwidth is very low. So the speed at which we communicate information to each other is extremely low. We're not communicating at a terabit. We're communicating more like 10 bits per second.
think that there's a
that should naturally lead you to the conclusion that there's massive opportunity for being more power efficient with AI. And at Tesla and at XAI, we continue to see massive improvements in inference compute efficiency. Um, so yeah.
You think that there's a moment where you would justify stopping all the traditional cars and just going completely all in on Cybercab if you felt like the learning was good enough and the system was safe enough? Is there ever a moment like that, or do you think you'll always kind of dual track and always do both?
I mean, all of the cars we make right now are capable of being a robot taxi. So there's a little confusion of the terminology because um, our cars look normal. You know, like Model 3 or Model Y it's a good looking car, but it looks normal. But it has an advanced AI computer and advanced AI software and cameras. And we didn't want the cameras to stick out, so we so that we didn't want them to be ugly or stick out. So we put them they're sort of in unobtrusive locations. You know, the forward-looking cameras are in front of the rearview mirror. Um, the side view mirrors are in the side repeaters. Oh, the side view cameras are in the side repeaters. The rear camera is just in the above the license plate. Actually, typically where the rear view camera is in a car. Um, and and the diagonal forward ones are in the B pillars. Like if you look closely, you can see all the cameras, but you have to look closely. We just didn't want them to stick out like warts or something. But actually, all the cars we make are hyper intelligent and have the cameras in the right places. They just look normal. And so all of the cars we make are capable of unsupervised full autonomy. Now we have a dedicated product which is the Cybercab, which has no steering wheel or pedals, which are obviously vestigial in an autonomous world. And we start production of the Cybercab in Q2 next year, and we'll scale that up to quite high volume. I think ultimately we'll make millions of Cybercabs per year. But it is important to emphasize that all of our cars are capable of being robotic taxis.
The Cybercab is gorgeous. I told you I'd buy 2 of those if you put a steering wheel in them, and there is a big movement
We're not putting a steering wheel.
People are begging for it. Why not? Why not let us buy a couple? Just the first ones off the line and drive them. I mean, they look great. It's like the perfect model. You always had a vision for a Model 2, right? Like, isn't it like the perfect Model 2 in addition to being a Cybercab?
Look, the reality is people may think they want to drive their car, but the reality is that they don't. How many times have you been, say, in an Uber or Lyft, and you said, you know what, I wish I could take over from the driver, and I wish I could get off my phone and take over from the Uber driver and drive to my destination. How many times have you thought that to yourself?
No, it's quite the opposite.
Zero times. Okay.
I have the Model Y, and it's just got 14. I have Juniper, and I got the 14.1, and I put it on Mad Max mode the last couple of days. That is
Mad Max mode
a unique experience. I was like, wait a second, this thing is driving in a very unique fashion.
Yeah. It assumes you want to get to your destination in a hurry.
Yeah. I used to give cab drivers an extra $20 to do that.
Medical appointment or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but it feels like it's getting very close. But you have to be very careful. Uber had a horrible accident with the safety driver. Cruise had a terrible accident. It wasn't their fault exactly, except somebody got hit, and then they hit the person the second time, and they got dragged.
Yeah.
This is pretty high stakes. So you're being extremely cautious.
The car is actually extremely capable right now. But we are being extremely cautious, and we're being paranoid about it because, to your point, even one accident would be headline news. Well, probably worldwide headline news.
Especially if it's a Tesla. Like Waymo, I think gets a bit of a pass. I think there's half the country, or a number of people probably would, go extra hard on you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Not everyone in the press is my friend.
I hadn't noticed.
Some of them are a little antagonistic.
Yeah. So they can just, but people are pressuring you to go fast, and I think everybody's got to just take their time with this thing. It's obviously going to happen, but I just get very nervous that the pressure to put these things on the road faster than they're ready is just a little crazy. So I applaud you for putting the safety monitor in, doing the safety drive, and no shame in the safety driver game. It's so much the right decision, obviously, but people are criticizing you for it. I think it's dumb. It's the right thing to do.
Yes, and we do expect it to not have any sort of safety occupant or there's not really a driver that just sits
Monitor.
Safety monitor just sit they just sit in the car and don't do anything.
Safety dude.
Yeah. So but we do expect that the cars will be driving around without any safety monitor before the end of the year. So sometime in December.
In Austin, yeah. I mean, you got a number of reps under your belt in Austin, and it feels like pretty well. You guys have done a great job figuring out where the trouble spots are. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what you learned in the first, I don't know, it's been like 3 or 4 months of this so far. What did you learn in the first 3 or 4 months of the Austin experiment?
Actually, it's gone pretty smoothly. A lot of things that we're learning are just how to manage a fleet, like because you've got to write all the fleet management software, right? So
yeah.
And you've got to write the ride-hailing software. You've got to write basically the software that Uber has. You've got to write that software. It's just summoning a robot car instead of a car with a driver. So a lot of the things we're doing, we're scaling up the number of cars to say like what happens if you have 1,000 cars. Like so, we think probably we'll have 1,000 cars or more in the Bay Area by the end of this year. Probably 500 or more in the greater Boston area. And if you have to make sure the cars don't all, for example, go to the same supercharger at the same time, right? Or don't all go to the same intersection. It's like, what do these cars do? And then like sometimes there's high demand and sometimes there's low demand. What do you do during those times? Do you have a car circle the block? Do you have to try to find a parking space? And then sometimes like say it's a disabled parking space or something, but the writing's faded or the thing's faded. The car's like, oh look, a parking space, we'll jump right in there. It's like,
get a ticket.
You gotta look carefully, make sure it's like it's not an illegal parking space. Or it sees a space to park and it's like ridiculously tight, but it's like, oh, I can get in there. Yeah. With like 3 inches on either side.
Bad computer.
Yeah, computer. But nobody else would be able to get in their car if you do that. So there's just like all these oddball corner cases, and
regulators are all very they have different levels of persnicketiness and regulations depending on the city, depending on the airport. I mean, it's just very different everywhere. That's going to just be a lot of blocking and tackling, and it just takes time.
Elon,
can I ask you another? Like, in order to take people to San Jose Airport, like San Jose, you actually have to connect to San Jose Airport servers, and because you have to pay a fee every time you go off. So the car actually has to do a remote call. The robot car has to do a remote procedure call to San Jose Airport servers to say I'm dropping someone off at the airport and charge me whatever $5. Which is like there are all these like quirky things like that. The like airports are somewhat of a racket. So that's like we have to solve that thing. But it's kind of funny, the robot car is like calling the server, the airport server, to charge its credit card or whatever.
It's gonna send a fax. Yeah, we're gonna be dropping off at this time.
But it will soon become extremely normal to see cars going around with no one in them.
Yeah.
Extremely
normal. Just before we lose you, I want to ask if you saw the Bill Gates memo that he put out. A lot of people are talking about this memo.
I just want to say, Billy G is not my love.
Oh man.
Did climate change become woke? Did it become woke? And is it over being woke? What happened with Billie Jean? I mean, you know.
Short Tesla.
Great question. Great question.
Yeah.
You know, you think that someone like Bill Gates, who clearly started started a technology company that's one of the biggest companies in the world, Microsoft, you think he'd be really quite strong in the sciences, but actually, my at least direct conversations with him have he is not strong in the sciences. Yeah, this is really surprising. You know, like he came to visit me at the Tesla Gigafactory in Austin, and was telling me that it's impossible to have a long-range semi truck. Um, and I was like, well, but we literally have them, um, and you can drive them, and Pepsi is literally using them right now, and you can drive them yourself. We'll send someone, obviously, Bill Gates not drive himself, but you can send a trusted person to drive the truck and verify that it can do the things that we say it's doing. And he's like, no, it doesn't work, And I'm like, okay, I'm not kind of stuck there. Then I was like, well, so it must be that you disagree with the watt hours per kilogram of the battery pack, so that you must think that perhaps we can't achieve the energy density of the battery pack, or that the watt hours per mile of the truck is too high, and that when you combine those two numbers, the range is low. And so which one of those numbers do you think we have wrong, and what numbers do you think are correct? And he didn't know any of the numbers. And I'm like, well, then doesn't it seem that it's perhaps premature to conclude that a long-range semi cannot work if you do not know the energy density of the battery pack or the energy efficiency of the truck chassis?
But yeah, he's now taking a 180 on climate. He's saying maybe this shouldn't be the top priority.
Climate is gay.
It's just, yeah.
Why would he say climate is gay? That's wrong.
It's totally retarded.
He said, well, Bill Gates said that climate is gay and retarded. Come on.
Maybe he's got some data centers he's got to put up. Do they have to stand up a data center for Sam Altman or something? I don't know. What is Azure? I don't know. He changed his position. I can't figure out why.
I mean, the reality of the whole climate change thing is that you've just had sort of people who say it doesn't exist at all, and then people who say it's are super alarmist and saying Mars is going to be underwater in 5 years. And now, obviously, neither of those two positions are true. The reality is you can measure the carbon concentration in the atmosphere. Again, you could just literally buy a CO2 monitor from Amazon. It's like $50, and you can measure it yourself. And you can say, okay, well, look, the parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere has been increasing steadily at 2 to 3 per year. At some point, if you continue to take millions, eventually trillions of tons of carbon from deep underground and transfer it to the atmosphere and oceans, so you transfer it from deep underground into the surface cycle, you will change the chemical constituency of the atmosphere and oceans. You just literally will. Then you can now you can say, to what degree and over what time scale. And the reality is that, in my opinion, is that we've got at least 50 years before it's a serious issue. I don't think we've got 500 years, but we've probably got 50. It's not 5 years. So if you're trying to get to the right order of magnitude of accuracy, I'd say the concern level for climate change is on the order of 50 years. It's definitely not 5, and I think it probably isn't 500. So really, the right course of action is actually just the reasonable course of action, which is to lean in the direction of sustainable energy, and lean in the direction of solar and of a sort of a solar battery future, and generally have the rules of the system lean in that direction. I don't think we need massive subsidies, but then we also shouldn't have massive subsidies for the oil and gas industry. Okay, so the oil and gas industry has massive tax write-offs They don't even think of as subsidies because these things have been in place for, in some cases, 80 years. But they're not there for other industries. So when you've got special tax conditions that are in one industry and not another industry, I call that a subsidy. Obviously, it is. But they're taking it for granted for so long in oil and gas that they don't think of it as a subsidy. Um, so the right course of action, of course, is to remove, in my opinion, to remove subsidies from all industries. Um, but the political reality is that the oil and gas industry is very strong in the Republican Party, but not in the Democratic Party. So you will not see sustainable energy incentives that were removed, some of which I agree with, by the way. Some of the incentives have gone too far. But anyway, the actual, I think, the correct scientific conclusion, in my opinion, um, and I think we can back this up with solid reasoning, ask Rob, for example, um, is that um, we should lean in the direction of moving towards a sustainable energy future. Um, we will eventually run out of oil, gas, and coal to burn anyway, because it's a finite there's a finite amount of that stuff, and we will eventually have to go to something that lasts a long time that is sustainable.
But to your point about the irony of things, it seems to be the case that making energy with solar is cheaper than making energy with some of these carbon-based sources today. And so the irony is it's already working. I mean, the market is moving in that direction, and this notion that
Yes.
we need to kind of force everyone into a model of behavior, it's just naturally going to change because we've got better systems. You know, you and others have engineered better systems that make these alternatives cheaper, and therefore they're winning. Like they're actually winning in the market, which is great. But
Yes.
they can't win if there are subsidies to support the old systems, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, there are actually massive disincentives for solar because China is a massive producer of solar panels. China does an incredible job of solar panel manufacturing, really incredible. They have roughly 1.5 terawatts of solar production right now, and they're only using a terawatt per year. By the way, that's a gigantic number. Um, the average U.S. power consumption is only half a terawatt. So just think about that for a second. Uh, China's solar panel production max capacity is 1.5 terawatts per year. U.S. steady state power usage is half a terawatt. Now, you do have to reduce. You say to produce 1.5 terawatts a year of solar, you need to add that with batteries, take into account the difference between night and day, the fact that the solar panel is not always pointed directly at the sun, that kind of thing. So you can divide by 5-ish to say that, but that still means that China has the ability to produce solar panels that have a steady state output that is roughly 2/3 that of the entire U.S. economy from all sources, which means that just with solar alone, China can, in 18 months, produce enough solar panels to power the United States, all the electricity in the United States.
What do you think about near field solar, aka nuclear?
I'm in favor of make energy from any way you want that isn't like obviously harmful to the environment. Um, Generally, people don't welcome a nuclear reactor in their backyard. They're not like championing.
Put it here. Put it under my bed.
Put it, yeah,
Put it on my roof.
If your next door neighbor said, "Hey, I'm selling my house and they're putting a reactor there," what would the typical homeowner response would be negative. Very few people will embrace a nuclear reactor adjacent to their house. But nonetheless, I do think nuclear is actually very safe. Um, there's a lot of scaremongering and propaganda around fission, if you're listening from fission. But fission is actually very safe. They obviously have this on, the Navy, U.S. Navy has this on submarines and aircraft carriers, and with people really walking right. I mean, a submarine's a pretty crowded place, and they have a nuclear-powered submarine. Um, so I think fission's fine as an option. The regulatory environment makes it very difficult to actually get that done. Um, and then it is important to appreciate just the sheer magnitude of the power of the sun. So here are some just important basic facts. Even Wikipedia has these facts right. You know, so you don't even have you can go to Wikipedia, get the best answer, but even Wikipedia has it.
Yeah, even Wikipedia got it right.
Yes, yes. What I'm saying, even Wikipedia's got these facts right. That the sun is about 99.8% of the mass of the solar system. Then Jupiter is about 0.1%, and then everything else is in the remaining 0.1%, and we are much less than 0.1%. So if you burnt all of the mass of the solar system, okay, then the total energy produced by the sun would still round up to 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just burnt Earth, the whole planet, and burnt Jupiter, which is very big and quite challenging to burn. Jupiter into a thermonuclear reactor. It wouldn't matter. The sun, it compared to the sun. The sun is 99.8% of the mass of the solar system, and everything else is in the miscellaneous category. So, like basically, no matter what you do, total energy produced in our solar system rounds up to 100% from the sun. You could even throw another Jupiter in there. So we're going to snag a Jupiter from somewhere else and somehow teleport. You could teleport 2 more Jupiters into our solar system, burn them, and the sun would still round up to 100%. You know, so as long as you're at 99.6%, you're still rounding up to 100%. Maybe that gives some perspective of why solar is really the thing that matters. And as soon as you start thinking about things at sort of a grander scale, like Carter scale 2 civilizations, it becomes very, very obvious. I'm not saying anything that's new, by the way. Like anyone who studies physics has known this for a very long time. In fact, Carter, I think, was a Russian physicist who came up with this idea, I think in the 60s, just as a way to classify civilizations, where the Carter scale 1 would be you've harnessed most of the energy of the planet. Carter scale 2, you've harnessed most of the energy of your sun. Carter 3, you've harnessed most of the energy of the galaxy. Now we're only about 1% or a few percent of Carter scale 1 right now, optimistically. But as soon as you go to Carter scale 2, where you're talking about the power of the sun, then you're really just saying everything is solar power, and the rest is in the noise. Yeah, so the sun produces about 1 billion times, well over 1 billion times more energy than everything on Earth combined.
It's crazy. It's mind blowing.
Right.
Yeah. Solar is the obvious solution. Short term,
Yeah.
I have to use some of these other sources, but hey, there it is, an hour and a half.
You think of like star power. Like maybe we got a branding issue here.
Yeah, star power.
Instead of solar powered, it's starlight.
Yeah, starlight. Perfect.
It's the power of a blazing sun. The blade. How much energy does an entire star have?
Yeah.
Well,
More
that's
than
not a
enough.
star.
More than enough. All right.
That's for sure. And also, you really need to keep the power local. So sometimes people, honestly, I've had these discussions so many times. It's where they say, "Well, like, would you beam the power back to Earth?" I'm like, "Do you want to melt Earth?" Because you would melt Earth if you did that. We'd be vaporized in an instant. So you really need to keep the power local. Basic distributed power, and I guess most of it we use for intelligence. So it's like the future is like a whole bunch of solar powered AI satellites.
the only thing that makes the star work is it just happens to have a lot of mass, so it has
A
that
lot of
gravity
mass.
to ignite the fusion reaction, right? But like we could ignite the fusion reaction on Earth now. I don't know, like if your view has changed. I think we talked about this a couple of years ago, where you were pretty like, we don't know if or when fusion becomes real here, but theoretically we could take like 10.
No, I want to be clear. My opinion on
This is hands down one of the most.
I studied physics in college. At one point in high school, I was thinking about a career in physics. One of my sons actually doing a career in physics. But the point is, I came to conclusions that I'd be waiting for a collider or a telescope. I don't have any to get that career in physics, but I have a strong interest in the subject. Um, so, um, my opinion on, say, creating a fusion reactor on Earth is, I think this is actually not a hard problem. Actually, it's a little hard. I mean, it's not like totally trivial, but if you just scale up a tokamak, the bigger you make it, the easier the problem gets. So you've got a surface volume ratio thing where you're trying to maintain a really hot core while having a wall that doesn't melt. So that's a similar problem with rocket engines. You've got a super hot core in the rocket engine, but you don't want the walls, the chamber walls of the rocket engine to melt. So you have a temperature gradient where it's very hot in the middle and gradually gets cold enough as you get to the perimeter, as you get to the the chamber walls in the rocket engine, where it doesn't melt because you've lowered the temperature and you've got a temperature gradient. So if you just scale up, the donut reactor tokamak, and improve your surface to volume ratio, it becomes much easier, and you can absolutely, in my opinion, no, I think just anyone who looks at the math, you can make a reactor that generates more energy than it consumes. And the bigger you make it, the easier it is. And in the limit, you just have a giant gravitationally contained thermonuclear reactor like the sun. So, which requires no maintenance and it's free. So this is also why would we bother doing that on making a little itty bitty sun that's so microscopic you barely notice on Earth when we've got the giant free one in the sky?
Yeah, but we only get a fraction of 1% of that energy on the planet Earth. We have to go
much less than 1%. Yeah.
Right. So we've got to figure out how to wrap the sun if we're going to harness that energy. That's our long term.
If people want to have fun with reactors, that's fine. Have fun with reactors, but it's not a serious endeavor compared to the sun. It's sort of a fun. It's a fun science project to make a thermonuclear reactor, but it's not. It's just peanuts compared to the sun. And even the solar energy that does reach Earth is a gigawatt per square kilometer, or roughly called 2.5 gigawatts per square mile. So that's a lot, and the commercially available panels are around 25, almost 26% efficiency, and maybe, but and then you say, like, if you pack it densely, get an 80% packing density, you're going to, which I think, you get a lot of places you could get an 80% packing density, you effectively have about, 200 megawatts per square kilometer, and you need to pair that with batteries so you have continuous power. Although our power usage drops considerably at night, so you need less batteries than you think.
Doesn't the question then become
a rough way to maybe an easy number to remember is a gigawatt hour per square kilometer per day is a roughly correct number.
But then doesn't your technical challenge become the scalability of manufacturing of those systems? So, accessing the raw materials and getting them out of the ground of planet Earth to make enough of them to get to that sort of scale and that volume that you're talking about. And as you kind of think about what it would take to get to that scale, like, do we have an ability to do that with what we have today? Like, can we pull that much material out of the ground?
Yes, the solar panels are made of silicon, which is sand, essentially.
I guess more on the battery side, but
on the battery side, yeah. So on the battery side, the like iron phosphate lithium-ion battery cells. There's Earth. I'd like to throw out some like interesting factoids here. If most people don't know, if you said as measured by mass, what is the biggest element? What is Earth made of? As measured by mass. Actually, it's iron.
Iron, yeah.
Iron. Yeah, we're I think 32% iron, 30% oxygen, and then everything else is in the remaining percentage. So we're basically a rusty ball bearing. That's Earth, and with a lot of silicon at the surface in the form of sand. And the iron phosphate, so iron phosphate lithium ion cells, iron, extremely common, most common element on Earth, even in the crust. And then phosphorus is also very common. And then the anode is carbon, which is also very common. And then lithium is also very common. So there's actually you can do the math. In fact, I did the math and published the math, but nobody looked at it. It's on the Tesla website. That shows that you can completely power Earth with solar panels and batteries, and there's no shortage of anything.
All right. So on that note, yeah, go get to work, Elon, and just
All right.
power the Earth while you're getting implants into people's brains and satellites and other good fun stuff. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Stop
coming.
by anytime.
Thanks for doing this.
You
This
got
was
the
great.
Zoom link. Stop
Thank
by
you.
anytime.
Thank you for coming today, and thank you for liberating free speech 3 years ago.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
That was a very important milestone.
And I see all you guys are in just different places. I guess this is a very virtual situation.
Always been that.
I'm at the ranch. Sax is on the
Are
wild.
you ever in the same room?
Nope.
We try not to be.
Only when we do that summit, but otherwise we
The
avoid each
summit,
other.
we're in the same room.
Your summit,
Otherwise-
your summit is pretty fun.
Yeah.
We had a great time recounting SNL sketches that didn't make it.
Oh God, there's just so many good ones. I mean, we didn't even get to the Jeopardy ones.
Yeah.
No,
Those
the
were
cock.
so
No,
offensive.
oh wait, do you know? No,
Well, I think we skipped a few that would have dramatically increased our probability of being killed.
We can take this one out.
boys, I love you. I love you.
Alright.
I love you all.
Later, guys.
I'm going to poker.
Later.
Take care.
All right.
Later.
All right, thanks, Elon.
Bye bye.
Love you.
Okay.
Let your winners ride.
Rain Man David Sack.
Adam, great to meet you. Thanks for being here on
My
the All In
pleasure.
podcast. Yeah, this is awesome for me. I'm a big fan. I grew up.
All In Podcast Elon Musk 2024 All In Summit.
Yeah. I mean.
I'm gonna take this.
All right. Thanks for taking the time. How you doing, brother? You keeping busy?
Yeah. I mean, it's rarely a slow week. I mean, in the world as well.
Yeah.
I mean, any given week, I mean, it just seems like the things get nuttier.
It's definitely a simulation. We've agreed on this at this point.
I mean, if we are in some alien Netflix series, I think the ratings are high.
Yeah. Ratings are high. How are the going. This is you've been at war for 2 years now.
Yes.
The price of freedom of speech is not cheap, is it?
So I think it's like 44 billion, something like that. Round numbers.
Give or take a billion.
Yeah, round numbers.
Yeah.
It's pretty nutty. There is like this weird movement to quell free speech kind of around the world, and this is something we should be very concerned about. Uh, you know, you have to ask like, why was the First Amendment like a high priority? You know, it was like number one. It's because people came from countries where if you spoke freely, you would be imprisoned or killed. And they were like, well, we'd like to not have that here. Because that was horrible. and actually, you know, there's a lot of places in the world right now, if you're critical of the government, you get imprisoned or killed.
Right.
Yeah, we'd like to not have that.
Are you concerned?
Can I add to that?
Yeah. I mean, I suspect this is a receptive audience to that message.
Yeah. I think we always thought that the West was the exception to that we knew there were authoritarian places around the world, but we thought that in the West we'd have freedom of speech. And we've seen, like you said, it seems like a global movement. In Britain, you've got teenagers being put in prison for memes
Yes.
opposing.
It's like you like to Facebook post, throw them in the prison.
Yeah,
It's like people have got an actual, you know, prison for like obscure comments on social media.
Not even shit posting.
Like not even.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I mean,
This is
like
this is when-
Pablo got thrown in prison
Right. You've got
recently.
Pablo.
I'm like, that is shook about that. I was like, what is the massive crime that?
Right. Pavel in France, and then of course we got Brazil with Judge Voldemort. That one seems like the one that impacts you the most. What's the latest on that?
Well, I guess we are trying to figure out, is there some reasonable solution in Brazil? The concern, I mean, I want to just make sure that this is framed correctly. Funny memes aside, the nature of the concern was that, at least at Export, we had the perception that we were being asked to do things that violated Brazilian law. So, obviously, we cannot, as an American company, impose American laws and values on other countries. We wouldn't get very far if we did that. But we do, think that if a country's laws are a particular way, and we're being asked to we think we're being asked to break them, then and be silent about it, then obviously that is no good. So I just want to be clear, because this sometimes comes across as Elon's trying to just be a crazy whatever billionaire and demand outrageous things from other countries, and while that's true. In addition, there are other things that I think are valid, which is like we obviously can't. I think any given thing that we do at Export, we've got to be able to explain in the light of day and not feel that it was dishonorable or we did the wrong thing. So we don't. That was that's the nature of the concern. So we actually are in sort of discussions with the judicial authorities in Brazil to try to run this to ground. Like what's actually going on? Like if we're being asked to break the law, Brazilian law, then that obviously should not sit well with the Brazilian judiciary. And if we're not and we're mistaken, we'd like to understand how we're mistaken. I think that's a pretty reasonable position.
I'm a bit concerned, as your friend, that you're going to go to one of these countries, and I'm going to wake up one day and you're going to get arrested, and like I'm going to have to go bail you out or something. Like feels very acute. Like it's not a joke now. Like they're literally
Yeah.
saying like, you know, it's not just Biden saying like we have to look into that guy. Now it's become quite literal. Like this, I don't. Who was the guy who just wrote the was it the Guardian piece about like?
Oh yeah,
hey,
yeah. There've been 3 articles, and I think in the past 3 weeks.
Robert Reich.
But,
Yeah.
but it wasn't just him. It was like
Yeah.
three different articles.
Three different articles. Yeah.
It doesn't. That's a trend.
that, calling for me to be imprisoned in the Guardian. You know, Guardian of what?
What are they protecting you exactly? Yeah.
Guardian of I don't know.
Authoritarianism.
Yeah, Guardian of yeah.
Yeah. Censorship.
Censorship.
But the premise here is that you bought this thing, this online forum, this communication platform, and you're allowing people to use it to express themselves. Therefore, you have to be jailed. I don't understand the logic here.
Right.
What do you think they're actually afraid of at this point? What's the motivation here?
I mean, I think if somebody's afraid, if somebody's sort of trying to push a false premise on the world, then that premise can be undermined with public dialogue, then they will be opposed to public dialogue on that premise because they wish that false premise to prevail.
Right.
So that's, I think, you know, the issue there is if they don't like the truth, you know, then they want to suppress it. So now, you know, the sort of what we're trying to do with X Corp is I distinguish that from my son, who's also called X.
Yes. Right. You have parental goals.
Everything's just called X, basically.
Yes.
It's a very difficult disambiguation.
The car, the sun.
Yeah, it's everything. So what we're trying to do is simply adhere to the you know the laws in a country. So if something is illegal in the United States, or if it's illegal in Europe or Brazil or wherever it might be, then we will take it down and we'll suspend the account because we're not there to make the laws. But if speech is not illegal, then what are we doing? Okay, now we're injecting ourselves in as a censor, and where does it stop? And who decides? So, and where does that path lead? I think it leads to a bad place. So, if the people in a country want the laws to be different, they should make the laws different. But otherwise, we're going to obey the law in each jurisdiction.
Right, and some of these European.
That's it. It's not more complicated than that. We're not trying to flout the law. We're going to be clear about that. We're trying to adhere to the law. If the laws change, we will change. And if the laws don't change, we won't. We're just literally trying to adhere to the law.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yes, it's very straightforward. And if some reason thinks we're not adhering to the law, well, they can file a lawsuit. Bingo.
Also very straightforward.
Yes.
I mean, there are European countries that don't want people to promote Nazi propaganda.
Yes.
They have some sensitivity to it.
Well, it is illegal.
It is illegal in those countries. And in those countries, if somebody puts that up, you take it down.
Yes.
Yeah, but they typically file something and say, take
yes.
it down.
No, in some cases, it is just obviously illegal. Like, you don't need to file a lawsuit for, if something is just, unequivocally illegal. We can literally read the law. This violates the law. Anyone can see that. Like you don't need, like if somebody is stealing, you don't need. Let me check the law on that.
Yeah.
Okay. No, they're stealing stuff.
Let's talk about it. So we had JD Vance here this morning. He did a great job. And one of the things is there's this image on X of basically you, Bobby, Trump, and JD are like the Avengers, I guess. And then there's another meme where you're in front of a desk where it says DOGE.
Yeah.
The Department of Governmental Efficiency.
Yes. I posted that one.
Tell us about
I made it using Grok, the Grok image generator. And I posted it.
Tell us about
I put it to my profile.
C for efficiency. How do you do it?
Well, I mean, I think with great difficulty, but look, it's been a long time since there was a serious effort to reduce the size of government and to remove absurd regulations. And the last time there was a really concerted effort on that front was Reagan. 40 years away from a serious effort to remove, not regulations that don't
BMW
and reduce the size of government. And I think it's just if we don't do that, then what's happening is that we get regulations and laws accumulating every year until eventually everything's illegal. And that's why we can't get major infrastructure projects done in the United States. Like if you look at the absurdity of the California high-speed rail, I think they spent $7 billion and have a 1,600-foot segment that doesn't actually have rail in it. I mean, your tax dollars at work. I mean,
yeah, what are we doing?
That's an expensive 1,600 feet of concrete, you know. And I mean, I think it's like if I realize sometimes I'm perhaps a little optimistic with schedules, but I mean, I wouldn't be doing the things I'm doing if I was, not an optimist. But at the current trend, California high-speed rail might finish sometime next century. Maybe, but probably not.
We'll have teleportation by that time. So.
Yeah, exactly. So AI do everything at that point. I think you really think of, the United States and many countries. It's arguably worse in the EU, as being like Gulliver tied down by a million little strings. And like any one given regulation is not that bad, but you've got a million of them, and or millions actually, and then eventually you just can't get anything done. And this is a massive tax on the consumer, on the people. It's just they don't realize that there's this massive tax in the form of irrational regulation. I'm going to give you a recent example that is just insane. Is that like SpaceX was fined by the EPA $140,000 for they claimed dumping potable water on the ground, drinking water. So, and we're like, this is at Starbase, and we're like, we're in a tropical thunderstorm region. That stuff comes from the sky all the time, and there was no actual harm done. It was just water to cool the launch pad during liftoff, and there's zero harm done. Like they agree, yes, there's zero harm done. We're like, okay, so there's no harm done, and you want us to pay a $140,000 fine? It's like, yes, because you didn't have a permit. Okay, we didn't know there was a permit needed for zero harm fresh water being on the ground in a place where fresh water falls from the sky all the time.
Next to the ocean.
Next to the ocean.
Because there's a little bit of water there too.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it rains so much the roads are flooded. So we're like, how does this make any sense?
Yeah.
And then like then they were like, well, we're not going to process any more of your applications for Starship launch, unless you pay this $140,000. They just ransomed us, and we're like, okay, so we paid $140,000. But it's like this is like that. I mean, at this rate, we're never going to get to Mars.
I mean, that's the confounding part here.
Yeah.
Is we're acting against our own self-interest. When you look at, we do have to make, putting aside fresh water, but hey, the rocket makes a lot of noise. So I'm certain there's some complaints about noise once in a while, but sometimes you want to have a party where you want to make progress, and there's a little bit of noise. Therefore, we trade off a little bit of noise for massive progress or even fun.
Yeah.
So, like, when did we stop being able to make those trade-offs? But talk about the difference between California and Texas, where you and I now reside. Texas, you were able to build the Gigafactory. I remember when you got the plot of land, and then it seemed like it was less than 2 years when you had the party to open it.
Yeah. From start of construction to completion was 14 months.
14
months.
Is there anywhere on the planet that would go faster? Is like China faster than that?
China was 11 months.
Got it. So Texas, China, 11 and 14 months. California, how many months?
And just to give you a sense of size, the Tesla Gigafactory in China is 3 times the size of the Pentagon.
Which was the biggest building in America?
No, there were bigger buildings, but the Pentagon's a pretty big one.
Yeah, or was it?
In units of Pentagon, it's like 3.
Okay, 3 Pentagons and counting.
Yeah.
Got it.
In 14 months, regulatory approvals in California would have taken 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
Where do you think the regulation helps? Like for the people that will say, we need some checks and balances. We can't have some, because for every good actor
Yes.
like you, there'll be a bad actor. So where's that line?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sort of, you know, in sort of doing sensible deregulation and reduction in the size of government is just like be very public about it and say like which of these rules do you, if the public is really excited about a rule and wants to keep it, we'll just keep it. And here the thing about the rules, if the rule is you know turns out to be a bad, we'll just put it right back. Okay, and then you know problem solved. It's like it's easy to add rules, but we don't actually have a process for getting rid of them. That's the issue. There's no garbage collection for rules.
When we were watching you work, David and I and Antonio, in that first month at Twitter, which was all hands on deck, and you were doing zero-based budgeting, you really quickly got the costs under control, and then miraculously, everybody said this site will go down, and you added 50 more features. So maybe explain, because this is the first time.
There are like so many articles like that this is Twitter is dead forever. There's no way it could possibly even continue at all.
It was almost like the press
It's
was
like
rooting for you
RIP.
now.
Let's write the obituary. Here's the obituary.
They're all saying their goodbyes on Twitter. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all leaving and saying their goodbyes because the site was going to melt down. And
Yeah, it's just totally failing and
All the journalists left.
yeah, and
Which is, if you ever want to like hang out with a bunch of hall monitors, oh my God, Threads is amazing. Every time I go over there and post, they're like, they're really triggered. But
yeah, I mean, if you like being condemned repeatedly, and
yes,
you know, for reasons that make no sense, then Threads is the way to go.
yeah, it's really, it's the most miserable place on earth. From Disney's the happiest. This is the anti-Disney.
Yeah.
But if we were to go into government, you went into the Department of Education, or pick the department. You've worked with a lot of them actually.
Sure.
You can't go in there and zero-based budget. Okay, we get it. But if you could just pair 2, 3, 4, 5% of those organizations, what kind of impact would that have?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to do more than that. I think.
Ideally, but
yeah.
compounding every year, 2, 3% a year. I mean, it would be better than what's happening now.
Yeah, look, I think we've you know, if Trump wins, and I don't know, I've said this, I suspect there are people with mixed feelings about whether that should happen, but we do have an opportunity to do kind of a once-in-a-lifetime deregulation and reduction in the size of government. Because the other thing, besides the regulations, America is also going bankrupt extremely quickly. And everyone seems to be sort of whistling past the graveyard on this one. But
they're all grabbing the silverware. Everyone's stuffing their pockets in the silverware before this Titanic sinks. It's like,
well, you know, the Defense Department budget is a very big budget. Okay, it's $1 trillion a year. DoD Intel, it's $1 trillion. And interest payments on the national debt just exceeded the Defense Department budget. They're over $1 trillion a year, just in interest, and rising. We're adding $1 trillion to our debt, which our kids and grandkids are going to have to pay somehow. Every 3 months, and then soon it's going to be every 2 months, and then every month, and then the only thing we'll be able to pay is interest. And if this is, it's just it's just like a person at scale that has racked up too much credit card debt, and this does not have a good ending. And so we have to reduce the spending.
let me ask one question, because I've brought this up a lot, and the counter argument I hear, which I disagree with, but the counter argument I hear from a lot of politicians is if we reduce spending, because right now if you add up federal, state, and local government spending, it's between 40 and 50% of GDP. So nearly half of our economy is supported by government spending, and nearly half of people in the United States are dependent directly or indirectly on government checks, and either through contractors that the government pays, or they're employed by a government entity. So if you go in and you take too hard an axe too fast, you will have significant contraction, job loss, and recession. What's the balancing act, Elon? Just thinking realistically, because I'm 100% on board with you. The next set of steps, however, assume Trump wins and you become the chief DOGE, DOG, like got lucky and yeah, and I think the challenge is how quickly can we go in? How quickly can things change? And without
I'll bet on my business card.
Yeah. without all the contraction and job loss. Yeah. So I guess how do you really address it when so much of the economy and so many people's jobs and livelihoods are dependent on government spending?
Well, I mean, I do think it's sort of it's a false dichotomy. It's not like no government spending is going to happen. You really have to say like, is it the right level? And just remember that any given person, if they are doing things in a less efficient organization versus more efficient organization, their contribution to the economy, their net output of goods and services will reduce. I mean, you've got a couple of clear examples between East Germany and West Germany, North Korea and South Korea. I mean, North Korea, they're starving. South Korea, it's like amazing.
It's the future. The compounding effect of productivity gains. Yeah.
Yeah, it's night and day.
Yeah.
And so in the North Korea, you've got 100% government. In South Korea, you've got probably, I don't know, 40% government. It's not zero. And yet you've got a standard of living that is probably 10 times higher in South Korea. At least, exactly. And then East and West Germany, in West Germany, you had, just thinking in terms of cars, I mean, you had BMW, Porsche, Audi, Mercedes, and East Germany, which is a random line on a map. The only car you could get was a Trabant, which is basically a lawnmower with a shell on it. It was extremely unsafe. There was a 20-year wait. So put your kid on the list as soon as they're conceived. And even then, only I think a quarter of people maybe got this lousy car. And it's just the same. So that's just an interesting example of like basically the same people, different operating system. And it's not like West Germany was some a capitalist heaven. It's quite socialist actually. So when you look, probably it was half government in West Germany and 100% government in East Germany. And again, it's sort of a 5 to, I'd like to pull at least a 5 to 10x standard of living difference, and even qualitatively vastly better. And it's obviously, sometimes people have these, amazingly in this modern era, this debate as to which system is better. Well, I'll tell you which system is better. The one that doesn't need to build the wall to keep people in. Okay, that's how you can tell. Okay. It's a dead giveaway.
Spoiler alert.
Dead giveaway.
Well, they climb through the wall to get out or come in.
You have to build a barrier to keep people in. That is the bad system. It wasn't West Berlin that built the wall. Okay, they were like, anyone who wants to flee West Berlin, go ahead.
Speaking of walls.
So and if you look at sort of the flux of boats from Cuba, there's a large number of boats from Cuba, and there's a bunch of free boats that anyone can take to go back to Cuba.
Yeah.
There's like
plenty of seats.
There's like, hey, wow, an abandoned boat. I could use this boat to go to Cuba, where they have communism. Awesome.
Yes.
And yet nobody picks up those boats and does it. Amazing. So.
Give this a lot of thought.
Yeah.
Wait, so your point is jobs will be created if we cut government spending in half.
Yes.
Jobs will be created fast enough to make up for, right? Just to count.
Yes. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that people have are immediately tossed out with
what?
And can't pay their mortgage. There needs to be some reasonable off ramp where. Yeah. So reasonable off ramp where they're still earning, they're still receiving money, but have a year or two to find jobs in the private sector, which they will find, and then they will be in a different operating system. Again, you can see the difference. East Germany was incorporated into West Germany. Living standards in East Germany rose dramatically.
In 4 years, if you could shrink the size of the government with Trump, what would be a good target?
just in terms of like ballpark.
Are you trying to get me assassinated before this even happens?
No, no. Pick a low number.
I mean, there's that old phrase, go postal. I mean, it's like they might.
Yeah.
Not me.
So we'll keep the post office.
I mean, I'm going to need a lot of security details, guys.
Yes.
I mean, the sheer number of disgruntled workers, former government employees, is, what, quite a scary number. I mean, I might not make it,
I was saying low digits every year for 4 years would be palatable. Yeah, and I like your idea of an
but the thing is that if it's not done, like if you have a once in a lifetime or once in a generation opportunity and you don't take serious action, and then you have 4 years to get it done, and then if it doesn't get done, then
how serious is Trump about this? Like you've talked to him about it, yeah?
yeah, I think he is very serious about it.
Got it.
And no, I think actually the reality is that if we get rid of nonsense regulations and shift people from the government sector to the private sector, we will have immense prosperity, and I think we'll have a golden age in this country. It'll be fantastic.
You have a bunch of critical milestones coming up.
Yeah, in fact, there's a very exciting launch that is maybe happening tonight. So if the weather is holding up, then I'm going to leave here, head to Cape Canaveral for the Polaris Dawn mission, which is a private mission funded by Jared Isaacman, and he's awesome guy. And this will be the first time, the first commercial spacewalk, and it'll be at the highest altitude since Apollo. So it's the furthest from Earth that anyone's gone.
After that, let's assume that's successful.
I sure hope so, man.
No pressure.
Yeah, we're absolutely. Astronaut safety is, man. If I had like all the wishes I could say about, that'd be the one to put on. So, space is dangerous. So I mean the next milestone after that would be the next flight of Starship, which Starship is the next flight of Starship is ready to fly. We are waiting for regulatory approval. It really should not be possible to build a giant rocket faster than the paper can move from one desk to another. Yeah.
You see that movie Zootopia?
Approved.
You ever see that movie Zootopia? There's like a sloth.
Coming in for the approval.
Yeah. They accidentally tell a joke, and it's like, oh no, this is
Here we go.
going to take a long time.
Sorry.
But yeah, the Zootopia, the funny thing is, I went to the DMV about, I don't know, a year later after Zootopia, and to get my whatever license renewal, and the guy in an exercise of incredible self-awareness had the sloth from Zootopia in his
His cube?
in his cube, and he was actually Swift.
Yeah. with that mandate, beat the sloth.
Yeah, no.
Personal agency.
No, I mean, some people think the government is more competent than it is. I'm not saying that there aren't competent people in the government. They're just in an operating system that is inefficient. Once you move them to a more efficient operating system, their output is dramatically greater, as we've seen. Example, when East Germany was reintegrated with West Germany, and the same people were vastly more prosperous with a basically half capitalist operating system. So, but I mean, for a lot of people, their maybe most direct experience with the government is the DMV. And then the important thing to remember is the government is the DMV at scale.
Right.
That's the government.
Got the mental picture.
How much do you want to scale it? Yeah.
Sorry, can you go back to Chamath's question on Starship. So you announced just the other day Starship going to Mars in 2 years, and
yeah, by the way.
oh, yeah, and then 4 years for a crewed aspirational launch in the next window. And how much is the government involved?
I'm not saying like set your watch by these, not but these, but based on our current progress, where with Starship we're able to successfully reach orbital velocity twice. We were able to achieve soft landings of the booster and the ship in water, and that's despite the ship having half its flaps cooked off. You can see the video on the X platform. It's quite exciting. So, we think we'll be able to have to launch reliably and repeatedly and quite quickly. And the fundamental holy grail breakthrough for rocketry, the fundamental breakthrough that is needed for life to become multiplanetary is a rapidly reusable, reliable rocket. With a pirate somehow. Throw a pirate in there. So with Starship is the first rocket design where success is one of the possible outcomes with full reusability. So for any given project, you have to say, this is the circle to the Venn diagram. Here's a circle, and is success the success dot in the circle? Is success in the set of possible outcomes? That sounds pretty obvious, but there are often projects where that is success is not in the set of possible outcomes. And so Starship not only is full reusability in the set of possible outcomes, it is being proven with each launch, and I'm confident it will succeed. It's simply a matter of time. And if we can get some improvement in the speed of regulation, we could actually move a lot faster. So that would be very helpful. And in fact, if something isn't done about reducing regulation and sort of speeding up approvals, and to be clear, I'm not talking about anything unsafe. It's simply the processing of the safe thing can be done at as fast as the rocket is built, not slower. Then we could become a spacefaring civilization and a multi-planet species, and be out there among the stars in the future. And there's, it's just very it's incredibly important that we have things that we find inspiring, that you look to the future and say the future is going to be better than the past, things to look forward to. And like kids are a good way to assess this. Like, what are kids fired up about? And if you could say, you could be an astronaut on Mars. You could maybe one day go beyond the solar system. We could make Star Trek, Starfleet Academy real. That is an exciting future. That is inspiring. You need things that move your heart. We could make Star Trek, Starfleet Academy real. That is an exciting future. That is inspiring. You need things that move your heart. Life can't just be about solving one miserable problem after another. There's got to be things that you look forward to as well.
Yeah, and do you think you might have to move it to a different jurisdiction and to move faster? I've always wondered if
rocket technology is considered an advanced weapons technology, so we can't just go do it,
in another country.
Yes.
Interesting. And if we don't do it, other countries could do it. I mean, they're so far behind us, but theoretically, there's a national security, justification here. If somebody can put their thinking caps on, like, do we want to have this technology that you're building, teams working so hard on, stolen by other countries, and then, maybe they don't have as much red tape?
I wish people were trying to steal it. So that no one's trying to steal it. It's just too. this is it's too crazy, basically.
And that's for you. Yeah, it's way too
Yeah.
crazy. Elon, what do you think is going on that led to Boeing building the Starliner the way that they did? They were able to get it up,
But not complete.
but can't complete.
They can't finish.
Can't finish.
I
And
don't
now
understand.
you're gonna have to go up and finish.
Well, I mean, I think Boeing is a company that is, they actually do so much business with the government. They have sort of impedance match to the government. So they're like basically one notch away from the government. Maybe they're not far from the government from an efficiency standpoint because they derive so much of their revenue from the government. And a lot of people think, well, SpaceX is super dependent on the government, and actually, no, most of our revenue is commercial. So, and there's, I think, at least up until perhaps recently, because a new CEO who actually shows up in the factory. And the CEO before that, I think, had a degree in accounting and never went to the factory and didn't know how airplanes flew. So I think if you are in charge of a company that makes airplanes fly and spacecraft go to orbit, then it can be a total mystery as to how they work. It's not a sort of technology dependent business, or if they're running a, financial consulting and their degrees in accounting, that makes sense. But I think, if you're going to do the category calculation, how do I know
Shifting gears to AI, Peter was here earlier and he was talking about how so far the only company to really make money off AI is NVIDIA with the chips. Do you have a sense yet of where you think the big applications will be from AI? Is it going to be in the neighborhood of 5 or
2, 1.
How to create new ad account in Facebook Business Manager. Hey guys, welcome.
I've never seen something like that, and the noise of it when it was going up was insane. And I asked Grandpa, would you go in it? And he goes, are you nervous? Oh, you're like 10 feet away. I'm a spam girl right now. Bryson and Neon. Oh my god. Not even shaking.
I'll design a rocket ship golf club
There you go.
with boosters on the back so you increase your swing speed.
Nice. Just a tad. 320 coming your way?
Just for you.
Just for me, yeah. I'm gonna need it. Alright.
That's bad.
Ow, that hurt. Stop.
Yeah, Mars colonizer, planet colonizer,
Being out there and looking at the Earth.
You're gonna go to Mars. At some point that would be cool. Those black tiles? Yes. We're looking at the leeward side of the rocket. So the other side, the windward side, has those black tiles. Yeah, it's a little hard to see, but so we're looking at the leeward side, well, the cold side essentially. So you can see the tiles are on the nose, but on the other side, the windward side, it's all black tiles. Yeah. And those are ceramic, basically heat shield tiles. They're basically a more advanced version of what was on the spaceship.
We're going off in 20 minutes.
20 more minutes. 20 minutes? 20 minutes, 20 points. Yeah. Look, it's up at the top left. T minus.
What are we feeling?
I don't know, my hair's all over the place, so. Oh, the bread looks pretty good. Oh, really okay today. What else do you want? Bake this cookie. That's actually kind of cool. Like, is this star brew? Or cold brew?
Conditions, the super heavy or the tower.
The baking is very good. Very good bacon.
Flight data, which is extremely valuable.
Oh my god, it's very good. Very cookie.
Prepare for our next set of tests.
It only comes back to land if everything is like super green, and then we had some concerns about the tower, so it was commanded to land out to sea.
Amazing. Can they use that again? Can they get it from the sea? Or
It's gonna be probably blocked. Probably gonna block, is my guess. But that's fine. We actually have better versions that are in production in those factories over there.
How long will it take to produce another one of those?
Oh, we already have the next one.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. and it's better than that one. So there are big improvements with every successive.
So what makes it better?
The specific next one we have is a lot of small improvements. There's a big version of increase that'll be flying next year. That's got the version 3 of our engines. That'll look very different. And it'll be longer and have a lot more thrust and have the new next generation engines. You can see on those screens up there, that's the ship that is now going around the Earth. So if you want to maybe get a better view, if you come, let's go. So it's actually going through the dark side of, like Earth is, the region of Earth that it's going through is now dark. It'll enter the region of where it's actually sunny. So it's currently sunny, about 600 miles northwest of Australia. So it'll go out of Earth's shadow, and we should be able to see it land. And that'll be pretty cool. Watching it re-enter is pretty wild because this thing glows like super hot. I mean, it looks like special effects because it's like every color. It's like purple, red, white. It's wild. If it doesn't blow up, we do have ships to try to bring it back, and then we can inspect it to learn more. But this one won't be reused. This one will not be reused. So this one is all about just learning. It's about learning more. This time we're going to enter at a steeper angle than before, so it's going to be a higher heating. We'll see if some of the changes we've made to the heat shield are better. So the last launch, you can actually see where it was getting really hot because we lose some heat shield, so it was like kind of glowing and little bits were melting off and that kind of thing. So hopefully this time the heat shield should be more robust. We also reduced the amount of heat shielding, so there's about 6 feet less heat shielding on the sides because we don't think that's necessary. Yeah, let's check it out. It's kind of like, okay, it doesn't explode. Well, I guess it's sick. Look on the bright side.
I've never seen something like that, and the noise of it, like when it was going up, insane. And I asked Grandpa, would you go in it? And he goes, no. He would not volunteer going in the spaceship, but it's okay. Would you?
Go in it?
Yeah.
Without a doubt, like in a heartbeat, I'm on it.
That was crazy. That was good.
Yeah. What's the G-forces going up if you were to go to manned? Is it too much for a person to handle?
No, it's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, like 5 Gs.
Okay, that's fine.
It's fine, yeah. The boost back burn is doing 20 Gs, so you wouldn't want to be on that.
You wouldn't want to do the flip, yeah.
No.
What did you say the top speed was?
For this flight, it'll do about 17,000 miles an hour. But for going to Mars, you'd go much faster than that. So maybe 35,000. Depends on how fast you want to go to Mars, but maybe 35,000 miles an hour.
What's the quickest time frame to get to Mars with our current technology?
If you want to maximize payload, it takes 6 months. You could potentially get it down to like 3 or 4 months if you're willing to sacrifice payload.
Okay. Does the weight matter once you're in space as much, or not really?
You've got to accelerate mass to a velocity to basically the Mars transfer velocity.
So there's a cost benefit of getting it going.
If you have less payload, you can go faster. That's the beginning would maximize payload to be like 6 months.
Okay.
Like long term, you could definitely get it below 3 months. So yeah,
cool. Fantastic. Let's go see it. Let's do it.
Thank you for having me.
Like lots of
It's amazing.
When I told her, she was just crying.
Cool.
What's
pretty
harder?
exciting. I mean, it's one of the most epic things that humans have done.
Oh, for sure.
What's harder, this or Greater Rifts in Diablo?
This is much harder.
Did you ever play Fortnite?
No. But I did play Quake and a bunch of other first-person shooters.
What about League? Did you play League?
Is that X?
League. If I start playing League, it will damage the space program.
Yeah, that shit's first, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's awesome. It's an honor to have President here.
It's crazy.
I swear I got chills, and I never get chills besides winning tournaments. When I win tournaments, I get the chills throughout my whole body. This legitimately gave me chills down the back of my spine.
This was honestly one of the coolest things ever.
I think that changed my entire perspective on
This game
minus 5 minutes and counting. Expected propellant closeout on both vehicles. That is exactly no issues going into today's launch attempt. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Vehicle pitching downrange.
Max Q.
Nico, ship ignition.
Stage separation.
Platform startup. Ship engine cutoff. Ship SM's entered payload deploy prep.
Open the pod bay doors now.
Ships at payload deploy.
There goes another one.
Relight demo startup. Starship is something. Starship landing burn startup.
Thank you for joining us for New Shepard's 6th human flight. Today's astronaut crew is secure in their seats, waiting to launch to space. In seat number 4 is Kobe Cotton.
Flight vector, New Shepard is go for launch.
T-minus 5, 4, command is start, 2, 1.
Channel, Dude Perfect.
New Shepard is go for launch. Booster commence terminal.
We're going 2,000 miles an hour out there.
Guys.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're good. Loosen. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh!
Let's do
Guys! We're floating! We're floating!
Alright,
thank you! Yes! Guys, we're doing it!
Okay.
Guys! Oh my gosh! Hey!
Good for Cobes, dude. It's insane.
Oh my word. I'm just spinning. Clint.
Look at that sky.
Oh, guys. All right, now take it in, guys. Look.
See the curvature of the earth.
Congratulations to all 6 crew of the Titanium Feather. They just officially became astronauts. Both the crew capsule and booster are now descending and entering the atmosphere.
Oh!
What is that?
Oh!
That's the booster.
Here it comes. It's about the sonic boom.
There it is, engine ignition, engine relay coming in for a landing.
Unbelievable! No way!
Booster touchdown.
That thing landed perfectly. Wow!
Prepare for maximum G-forces on re-entry.
Oh, my face.
There we've got a great shot of the crew capsule coming back down.
Capsule! Oh, it's falling fast.
They're in that. Are they back in their seats? Well, I sure hope so.
Listen, it's called Connect Team, and it's in.
That shit don't make sense. That's all I'm saying. That shit don't make no sense. So they just went 100 kilometers up, right? I don't know. Sketchy. All right, back to work. This will be faster.
industries? I mean, it's still, I think, early in terms of where the big business impact's going to be. Do you have a sense yet?
I think the spending on AI probably runs ahead of, I mean, it does run ahead of the revenue right now. There's no question about that. But the rate of improvement of AI is faster than any technology I've ever seen by far. And it's, I mean, like, for example, a Turing test used to be a thing. Now, you're basically open source random LLM or running on a friggin' Raspberry Pi node that could, use a Turing test. So I think actually, like the good future of AI is one of immense prosperity, where there is an age of abundance, no shortage of goods and services. Everyone can have whatever they want, except for things we artificially define to be scarce, like some special artwork. But anything that is a manufactured good or provided service will, I think, with the advent of AI plus robotics, that the cost of goods and services will trend to zero. Like, I'm not saying it'll be actually zero, but it'll be, everyone will be able to have anything they want. That's the good future. Of course, in my view, that's probably 80% likely. So look on the bright side. Only 20%. 20% probably of annihilation. Something.
Is the 20% like? What does that look like?
Man. I mean, frankly, I do have to go engage in some degree of deliberate suspension of disbelief with respect to AI in order to sleep well. And even then, because I think the actual issue, the most likely issue is like, well, how do we find meaning in a world where AI can do everything we can do, a bit better? That is perhaps the bigger challenge. Although, at this point, I know more and more people who are retired, and they seem to enjoy that life. So, but I think that maybe there'll be some crisis of meaning, like because the computer can do everything you can do, but better. So maybe that'll be a challenge. But really, you need the sort of end effectors. You need the autonomous cars, and you need the sort of humanoid robots or general purpose robots. But once you have general purpose humanoid robots and autonomous vehicles, you can build anything. And I think that there's no actual limit to the size of the economy. I mean, there's obviously the massive Earth, like that would be one limit. But the economy is really just the average productivity per person times number of people. That's the economy. And if you've got humanoid robots that can do, where there's no real limit on the number of humanoid robots, and that they can operate very intelligently, then there's no actual limit to the economy. There's no meaningful limit to the economy.
You guys just turned on Colossus, which
Yeah.
is like the largest private compute cluster, I guess, of GPUs anywhere. Is that right?
It's the most powerful supercomputer of any kind.
Which sort of speaks to what David said and kind of what Peter said, which is a lot of the kind of economic value so far of AI has entirely gone to NVIDIA. But there are people with alternatives, and you're actually one with an alternative. Now, you have a very specific case because Dojo is really about images and large images, huge video.
So yeah, I mean, the Tesla problem is different from the the sort of LLM problem. The nature of the intelligence is actually and what matters in the AI is different to the point you just made, which is that in Tesla's case, the context length is very long. So you've got gigabytes of context.
Gigabyte context windows, yeah.
Yeah, you've got sort of.
I was just bringing
because you've got seven cameras, and if you've got several, let's say you've got a minute of several high def cameras, then that's gigabytes. So you need to compress. And so the Tesla problem is you've got to compress a gigantic context into the pixels that actually matter, and and condense that over a time. And so you've got in both the time dimension and space dimension, you've got to compress the pixels in space and pixels in time, um, and then have that inference done on a tiny computer, relatively speaking, a small, a few hundred watts. It's a Tesla-designed AI inference computer, which, by the way, is still the best. There isn't a better thing we could buy from suppliers. So the Tesla-designed AI inference computer that's in the cars is better than anything we could buy from any supplier. Just by the way, that's kind of a.
By the way,
the Tesla AI chip team is extremely good.
You guys, in the design, there was a technical paper and there was a deck that somebody on your team from Tesla published, and it was stunning to me. You designed your own transport control like layer over Ethernet. You were like, Ethernet's not good enough for us.
Yeah.
You have this TT COE or something, and you're like, we're just going to reinvent Ethernet and like string these chips. It's pretty incredible stuff that's happening over there.
Yeah. No, the Tesla chip design team is extremely good. So.
But is there a world where, for example, other people over time that need, some sort of like video use case or image use case could theoretically
Pouring more into social insert.
Why not? I have some extra cycles over here, so it should kind of make you a competitor of NVIDIA. It's not intentionally per se, but.
Yeah, I mean, there's training and inference. I mean, we do have those two projects at Tesla. We've got Dojo, which is the training computer, and then our inference chip, which is in every car, inference computer. So, and Dojo, we've only had Dojo 1. Dojo 2 is, we should have Dojo 2 in volume towards the end of next year. And that will be, we think, sort of comparable to sort of a V200 type system, a training system. So I guess there's some potential for that to be used as a service. Dojo is just kind of like, I mean, I guess I have like some improved confidence in Dojo, but I think we won't really know how good Dojo is until probably version 3. Like, it usually takes 3 major iterations on a technology for it to be excellent, and we'll only have the second major iteration next year. The third iteration, I don't know, maybe late, 26 or something like that.
How's the Optimus project going? I remember we talked last, and you said this publicly, that it's in doing some light testing inside the factory.
Yeah.
So it's actually being useful. What's the build of materials, and when, for something like that at scale, so when you start making it like you're making the Model 3 now, and there's 1 million of them coming off the factory line, what would they cost? $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've discovered really that, anything made in sufficient volume will asymptotically approach the cost of its materials. So now I should say so some things are constrained by the cost of intellectual property and like paying for patents and stuff. So a lot of what's in a chip is like paying royalties and depreciation of the chip fab. So, but the actual marginal cost of the chips is very low. So Optimus, it obviously is a humanoid robot. It weighs much less and is much smaller than a car. So you could expect that in high volume, and I'd say you also probably need three production versions of Optimus. So you need to refine the design at least 3 major times, and then you need to scale production to sort of the 1 million unit plus per year level. And I think at that point, the cost, the labor and materials on Optimus is probably not much more than $10,000.
And that's a decade-long journey, maybe.
Basically, think of it like the Optimus will cost less than a small car.
Right.
So at scale volume with the three major iterations of technology, and so if a small car, costs $25,000, it's probably like I don't know, $20,000 for an Optimus, for a humanoid robot that can be your body, like a combination of R2D2 and C3PO, but better.
I mean,
and honestly, I think people are going to get really attached to their humanoid robot because, I mean, like they look at sort of watch Star Wars, and it's like R2D2 and C3PO. I love those guys. They're awesome. And their personality, and I mean, and all R2 could do is just beep at you, right? And couldn't speak English. And C3PO to translate the beeps.
So you're in year 2 of that. If you did 2 or 3 years per iteration or something, it's a decade-long journey for this to hit some sort of scale. And
I would say major iterations are less than 2 years, so it's probably on the order of 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 to get to 1 million units a year.
And at that price point, everybody can afford one on planet Earth. I mean, it's going to be that 1-to-1, 2-to-1. What do you think ultimately, if we're sitting here in 30 years, the number of robots on the planet versus humans?
Yeah, I think the number of robots will vastly exceed the number of humans. Vastly exceed. I mean, you have to say, like, who would not want their robot buddy? Everyone wants a robot buddy. It's like, especially because, it can take care of take your dog for a walk. It could, mow the lawn. It could watch your kids. It could, like, it could teach your kids. It could.
We could also send it to Mars.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can send a lot of robots to Mars to do the work needed to make it a colonized planet for humans.
Mars is already the robot planet. There's like a whole bunch of robots, like rovers and helicopter. Yes, only robots. Yeah. So yeah, I think the sort of useful humanoid robot opportunity is the single biggest opportunity ever. Because if you assume like that, I mean, I think the ratio of humanoid robots to humans is going to be at least 2-to-1, maybe 3-to-1. Because everybody will want one, and then there'll be a bunch of robots that you don't see that are making goods and services.
And you think it's one generalized robot that then learns how to do different tasks, or?
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, we are a generalized robot.
Yeah, we're a generalized.
We're just made of meat,
we're a meat bot, a generalized meat bot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm operating my meat puppet, we are actually. And by the way, it turns out, like, as we're designing Optimus, we sort of learn more and more about why humans are shaped the way they're shaped, and why we have 5 fingers, and why your little finger is smaller than your index finger. Obviously why you have opposable thumbs, but also why, for example, the muscles, the major muscles that operate your hand are actually in your forearm, and your fingers are primarily operated like. The muscles that actuate your fingers are located. The vast majority of your finger strength is actually coming from your forearm, and your fingers are being operated by tendons, little strings. And so the current version of the Optimus hand has the actuators in the hand, and has only 11 degrees of freedom. So doesn't have all the degrees of freedom of human hand, which has, depending on how you count it, roughly 25 degrees of freedom. And it's also like not strong enough in certain ways because the actuators have to fit in the hand. So the next generation Optimus hand, which we have in prototype form, the actuators have moved to the forearm, just like the human, and they operate the fingers through cables, just like the human hand. And the next generation hand has 22 degrees of freedom, which we think is enough to do almost anything that a human can do.
And presumably, I think it was written that X and Tesla may work together, and provide services. But my immediate thought went to, oh, if you just provide a grok to the robot, then the robot has a personality and can process voice and video and images and all of that stuff.
As we wrap here, I think everybody talks about all the projects you're working on, but people don't know you have a great sense of humor.
That's not true.
Oh, you do. People don't see it, but I would say I know for me, the funniest week of my life, or one of the funniest, was when you did SNL, and I got to tag along. Maybe you saw it. Maybe behind the scenes, like some of your funniest recollections of that chaotic, insane week when we laughed for 12 hours a day. It was a little terrorizing on the first couple of days, but
yeah, I was a bit worried at the beginning there because, frankly, nothing was funny.
Day one was rough.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's like a rule, but can't you guys just say it? Just say the stuff that got on the cutting.
The funniest skits were the ones that didn't let you do.
That's what I'm saying. Can you just
There were
say
a couple of funny ones, that they didn't.
You can say it so that he doesn't get.
I mean, how much time do we have here?
Well, we should just give one or two. It was. In your mind, which one do we regret most not getting on air?
Do you really want to hear that? I mean,
it was a little spicy. It was a little funny.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right, here we go, guys. All right. So one of the things that I think everyone's been sort of wondering this whole time is Saturday Night Live actually live? Like live, or do they have like a delay, or like just in case there's a wardrobe malfunction or something like that? Is it like a
truly live
5-second delay? What's really going on? But there's a way to test this.
Right. We came up with a way.
There's a way to test this, which is we don't tell them what's going on. I walk on and said, "This is the script." I'll throw it on the ground. We're gonna find out tonight, right now,
if Saturday
Night Live is actually live. And the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to take my cock out. If you see my cock, you know it's true. And if you don't, it's been a lie.
All these years. Now
We're gonna bust them right now.
And we're pitching this.
Yeah. So we're pitching this
on Zoom.
Yeah, we're pitching this on Zoom on like the Monday after we're like kind of hungover from the weekend, and we're like pitching this
We're
like
in Miami.
noon. And it's Jason's on, and
Mike
and Mike. So essentially got like my friends I think are sort of quite funny. Jason's quite funny. I think like Jason's the closest thing to Cartman that exists in real life.
We have a joke going that he's Butters and I'm Cartman.
Yeah. So, and my friend Mike's really funny too. So we come in like guns blazing with like ideas and we didn't realize like actually that's not how it works and that's normally like actors and they just get told what to do and like
right.
What you mean we can't just like do funny things that we thought of? What?
They're watching this and on the Zoom they're aghast.
Yes,
Elon's pitch.
Yeah, and it's silence. Like so, and I was like, is this thing working? Is this?
Are we muted?
Is that mic on?
They're like, we hear you.
Yeah, and then I think after a long silence, like Mike just says the word crickets.
And they're not laughing.
Not even a chuckle. I'm like, what's going on here?
Elon explains the punchline.
Yes,
which is
exactly. So there's more to it. Okay.
Yes.
That's just the beginning.
So Elon says.
So now I'm like, so I said like I'm.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is base 4.
What if we could measure a civilization's progress by the energy it controls? Energy it controls. What if we could measure a civilization? Civilization's progress by the energy it controls. That's exactly what the Kardashev scale does. And in this video, we'll walk through every stage, from Type 1 to the theoretical Type 7. Type 1 civilization. A Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale is a society that has achieved full mastery over the energy resources of its home planet. This means it can harness, store, and use all the energy available on Earth, including solar, wind, geothermal, tidal, and even the energy from storms, earthquakes, and volcanoes. In numerical terms, a Type 1 civilization would use about 10 to the power of 16 watts. What if we could measure a civilization's
I'm looking for a new video game to play. Can you give me a recommendation?
Overwatch.
I play Overwatch.
Yeah, it's
Anything
great.
else? Overwatch is amazing.
Overwatch is amazing. Yeah, generally Blizzard does great stuff. Well, there's Hearthstone.
I haven't tried that one yet.
Yeah.
I know people love it.
That's what my kids play the most, is Hearthstone.
All right.
Also from Blizzard.
I will check that out tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the time. I know you gotta get going.
Cool. Do you play anything besides? That's what my kids play the most, is Hearthstone.
All right.
Also from Blizzard.
I will check that out tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the time. I know you gotta get going.
Cool. Do you play?
I will check that out tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the time. I know you gotta get going.
Cool. Do you play anything besides Overwatch? I mean, have you tried the new Deus Ex?
I have tried the new Deus Ex.
It's okay, but like
the best game I played recently, and it's not a super new game, is The Last of Us.
Oh, is it really?
It's from a couple of years ago.
Sure.
I loved it.
Okay, Last of Us.
Yeah.
You like that too? Is it really good?
Uncharted too.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Uncharted.
I was just
really The Last of Us
storytelling like that in a video game.
I mean, honestly, I think that's really neglected. I mean, that's the criticism I heard of the latest Deus Ex is the storytelling is kind of lame. And like whereas the prior Deus Ex and the original Deus Ex was the storytelling was amazing. I don't know if anybody's played. Did you play the original Deus Ex? That was killer.
Yeah.
Possible outcomes.
They were able.
There is an age of abundance. Number of people. That's the economy. And if you've
Is our mic on?
And they're like, we hear.
so I say like I'm gonna reach down.
Elon's pitch.
Yeah, it's silence. Like so I'm like, and I was like, is this thing working?
Okay.
Yes.
That's just the beginning.
So Elon says.
So then I'm like, so I said, like, I'm gonna reach down
into my pants.
Into my pants, and I stick my hand in my pants, and I'm gonna pull my cock out. And I tell this to the audience, and the audience is gonna be like, what?
Right. And
then I pull out a baby rooster. You know.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, this is kind of PG. You know, it's like
it's
that, not that bad. It's like this is my tiny cock, and it's like, what do you think?
And so then.
And do you think it's a nice cock? I mean, I like it.
Pitch.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then Kate McKinnon walks out.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, oh no, but you haven't heard half of it. So Kate McKinnon comes out.
Yeah.
And she says, Elon, I expected you would have a bigger cock.
Yeah. It's like, I don't mean to disappoint you, Kate, but yeah. But I hope you like it anyway. But Kate's got to come out with her cat, okay?
Right.
So.
And Kate says.
You can see where this is going. And I say, nice. Wow, that's a nice pussy you've got there, Kate. Wow, that's amazing. It looks a little wet. Was it raining outside?
And then.
Do you mind if I stroke your pussy? Is that cool? It's like, oh no, Elon. Actually, can I hold your cock? Of course, Kate. You definitely hold my cock. And then we exchange, and I think just the audio version of this is pretty good.
Right.
It's just like, wow, I really like stroking your cock, and I was like,
and then Elon says, I'm really enjoying stroking your pussy.
Yes, of course. And so
They're looking at us like, oh my God, what have we done inviting these lunatics on the program?
Yeah, and then they said like, well, it is Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day. We might not want to go with this one.
A lot of moms in the audience. And I'm like, well, that's a good point. Well,
fair.
It might be a bit uncomfortable for all the moms in the audience. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe they'll dig it.
Maybe they'll like it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. That's the cold open that didn't make it. We didn't get that on the air. But we did fight for Doge.
Yes.
And we got Doge on the air.
I mean, there's a bunch of things that I said that were just not on the script. Like they have these like cue cards for what you're supposed to say, and I just didn't say it. I just went off the rails.
Yeah. They didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it's live.
Well, it's live. And so Elon wanted to do Doge. This is the other one. And he wanted to do Doge on late night. And he says, hey, Jake Al, can you make sure?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to do the Doge Father. Like you sort of redo the, that scene from the Godfather. I mean, you kind of need the music to cue things up.
You bring me on my daughter's wedding. Listen, you ask for Doge.
Yeah, you got Marlon Brando
and
on
I
the
give
scene.
you Bitcoin, but you want Doge.
Exactly. You really got to set the mood. You got to have a tuxedo and
this
the
whole
sort of dark office
of
and
the Doge
and you got to have like Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
I said, you come to me on this day of my Doge's wedding, and you ask me for your private keys. Are you even a friend? You call me the Doge Father.
So.
Buonasera.
So.
That's potential.
They had great potential. So they come to me, and I'm talking to Colin and Joe, who's got a great sense of humor, and he's amazing. He loves Elon. And he's like, we can't do it because of the law and stuff like that. And,
the law
and liability. So I said, it's okay. Elon called Comcast, and he put in an offer, and they just accepted it.
Yeah.
We just bought NBC, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And Colin Jost looks at me, and I sold it so good, and he's like, you're serious? I'm like, yep, we own NBC now.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, that kind of changes things, doesn't it? And I'm like, absolutely. We're a go on Doge.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you're fucking with me. And I'm like, I'm fucking with you.
Or are we?
Or are we? It was the greatest week of, and that like is like 2 of 10 stories.
Yeah, we got a
We'll
bunch
save
of
the
them.
other 8.
Yeah.
But it was, and I was just so happy for you to see you have a great week of just joy and fun and letting go, because you were launching rockets, you're dealing with so much bullshit in your life. To have those moments, to share them and just laugh, it was just so great. And more of those moments. I think we gotta get you back on SNL. Who wants him back on SNL one more time? All right, ladies and gentlemen, our bestie, Elon Musk.
We met a number of years ago. In part, I was writing a movie. I was going in to pitch a movie called Interstellar. At the time, Steven Spielberg was the director, and he wanted to do a grounded movie about the future of space travel. So I came in and my pitch was very short. I said the movie's going to be 10 minutes long because it's not happening. It was about 10 years ago. We're not going. There's no money left. This is not a priority for us anymore. And then in the course of, and somehow I got the job, in the course of writing the movie, working with Kip Thorne, a physicist, invited me to a physics conference one night, and I got seated next to Elon. We've been friends ever since. The irony of that being, I wound up becoming friends with a guy who I think personally is moving the needle back in the other direction, kind of by himself at this point, more than anyone I can think of. So the net result is, I think we are going back to the moon. I think we are going to Mars, and I think a lot of it is because of you. So one of the questions we've got here today. One of the questions that you guys have submitted that I love is, it's simple. Mars, how can we help?
Well, let's see. So, in the short term, Mars is really about getting the spaceship built. We're making good progress on this on the ship and the booster, codenamed BFR.
What does that stand for again?
Well, it's a bit of it's like sort of a Rorschach test in acronym form. But it is very big. Yeah. And I gave a presentation on this at the International Astronautical Congress in Australia last year, and that design is evolving rapidly. We're actually building that ship right now. I think.
All right, boys, massive pod. Elon fucking Musk on the podcast. We want to let you guys.
With a large graphic of women after Elon Musk.
Fuck
I know,
yeah.
Like it's
100%. That's not why
This guy.
That's like some side, like, I'm stoked for that.
Like, but that's not the main reason.
Yo, he told me. I told him I was like, yo, Elon and security asked to make sure hotel staff, no one in the hotel knows Elon's coming, because that's usually who leaks. He goes, nah. I told a couple. He told me he told a couple girls by the pool already.
Are you serious?
I had to drop.
What are the odds Elon comes and fires with us tonight? What do you think realistically?
I mean, dude, you're with him at Delilah till 2 a.m.
Percentage wise,
50-50.
No, I'd say it's like a good 10%.
Do that.
I think after this, we're gonna get hammered on the pod. We're gonna hop on a jet, and we're gonna go to like Mexico with Elon or something. We're gonna party, slam hookies. We're gonna gamble on steak with Elon. Do some sweet bonanzas with Elon.
You think
Maybe
he's a
some
gambler?
fruit party. I don't know, and I think it's just gonna be a great night.
I'll hit fruit party with Elon. Sweet
That'd be
bonanza.
funny. That'd be funny going on stage.
No, you know
doing
what
a
he
quick
might like?
blackjack hand with him.
He might play Crash.
Ooh.
He might be a
shit.
Crash genius,
Oh,
bro.
that'd be genius. All right, boys. Meet Elon.
Hi, guys. Not bad. Well, we sure have enough cameras.
Yeah, we gotta get on the angles. Hi.
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
Aaron, nice to meet you.
Really appreciate you coming.
You're welcome.
Here we got the mic right here.
What's the...
This is where we need Gabe.
You can get right in there if you want.
This is our seltzer. It's called Happy Dad.
All right.
You a drinker or no?
Do I drink alcohol?
You try to?
Yeah, of course I drink alcohol.
Oh, you gotta try one.
Sure.
Here, this one.
Or just drink it from the can.
Yeah. We usually do the cups if someone's drinking water.
Elon in the house pouring a Happy Dad.
Right out of the gate.
Should we cheers to that?
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Thanks for coming, Elon. We really appreciate it.
My guy. Cheers.
Cheers.
How was your day? What'd you get up to today?
Not bad.
Just
work or like working, or how was your day?
Should I get closer to the mic?
Yeah, probably.
Hello.
Let's fix it.
Hi.
We're just rolling too. We just always just go straight for it.
Hello.
So how did this all come about? You guys have met, what, like John said, like 10 years ago? Or you've known each other for like 10 years?
At the Super Bowl thing?
Yeah. Oh, no, Mayweather fight. We went to a Mayweather fight together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that story?
Was it 10 years ago?
It was 2013. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
That was
Yeah,
crazy.
it was the Canelo Mayweather fight. Do you remember the story about when Bieber came on the plane and he brought too many people?
Yeah.
And then I forgot how many people he brought. He brought like 10, 12
It was
people.
like a bus that showed up.
Yeah, yeah.
Or minivans. There was like a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm freaking out, and I go to our boy Shervin. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Bieber just rolled up, way too many people, and he's like, just go be honest with Elon. So I went and let Elon know. I was like, yo, bro, sorry. Like Bieber brought like a lot of people. There's already your family was on the plane too.
Yeah.
And Elon goes, don't worry, I got this handled. And him and his brother Kimball, they made like one quick phone call, and like 20 minutes later, another jet just rolled in. They're like, yeah, we got a second plane here. And then we flew to Vegas.
How does that work, Elon? Do you just have like jets like on demand like that?
No, that was my brother's plane.
Your brother's plane?
Yeah.
That's dope.
What was the link with Bieber?
No, our buddy Shervin.
But
And then-
Bieber, you and
The Shervinator.
you wanted to hang out with
Shervinator.
Bieber?
Shervin, you know Shervin, of course. You know
Yeah,
Shervin.
I know Shervin well.
Yeah, actually, you know Shervin's daughter, Daria.
Yeah, she's very beautiful.
Yeah, okay.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, this is crazy to have you here though. I mean, we have like one of our Metacard, our NFTs, and in the Discord, all they're saying all the time is just, please get Elon on, please get Elon
Okay.
on, please
What do
get
they
Elon
want me to
on. So-
say?
What's that?
What are they curious about?
A lot.
Probably everything.
A lot. Space, cars, crypto. Really,
Space
those.
cars and crypto.
Yeah, I think those
Neuralink.
are Neuralink. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you in Texas like full time now? Because you used to be in Cali, right?
Yeah, I used to live in California, but mostly live in Texas these days. Tesla, we built this giant factory called the Giga Texas, which is the biggest factory in North America. It's just outside Austin. So I'm working on just bringing up that factory, which is just increasing the production. It's like a factory is a giant cybernetic collective. So you're going to make the cybernetic collective work with thousands of people and machines. Just a lot of like 10,000 little things to fix, basically.
The team's doing great though. So we're spooling up the Giga Texas factory here in Austin, and they're building a giant rocket in South Texas near Brownsville. So
it's a Starlink rocket.
It's called the Starship, yeah, but it will launch the Starlink 2 satellites.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's
if I turn
that?
my head, can you still get the audio?
You said what?
If I okay.
What's that move? What's that?
Which is like.
What's that movement like from Cali to Texas? Like, which one? Do you ever miss Cali?
I was only in California, a couple days, like 2 or 3 days every couple weeks.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I'm in every couple weeks. I'm in LA for a few days, Bay Area for a few days, basically, something like that.
What made you move out here to Texas?
It was basically the building the Giga Texas factory in Austin, and then the Starship program in South Texas. So basically the two big new things for both Tesla and SpaceX were in Texas. So it ended up being that's where I needed to be.
When you're talking about Bay Area, you're talking about the Fremont factory. That's still up there, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
that's the original one, right?
Sort of our original big factory.
Yeah.
We had a tiny factory in Menlo Park at one point.
Oh, okay.
Where we made the Tesla Roadster. The Tesla Fremont factory in the San Francisco Bay Area is the highest output car factory in North America. Makes more cars than any other factory. So, and we're trying to ramp it up. So, it's not like Tesla's leaving California. It's just we kind of got too big to fit in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you know the region, like you're kind of sandwiched in between the ocean, the bay, and the mountains, and there's no room.
Yeah. East Bay.
It's real houses are crazy money.
Yeah.
Where was our flag at when we? I don't know if you know our brand's called Full Send, so that's like the term that we coined.
Yeah.
I think at one of your guys'
that was a space.
launches.
I believe that's
yeah. For some reason, at SpaceX we say that a lot too.
Yeah. So that's our brand.
You see the Full Send.
People say Full Send at SpaceX a lot.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's our brand. That's
okay.
Yeah, but
so that's like our clothing line.
And that's our flag.
Like Sam Patel would say Full Send quite a lot.
You see that flag right there, the American one?
Yeah, that's our merch.
Okay.
What context does he say full send?
It's kind of like when you're going hardcore, like pedal to the metal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Full Send. Yeah.
That's cool. We came up with that, and that's our brand. And
all right.
So that was like when we saw. I think that's SpaceX Hawthorne. I think that was.
That was Starbase, South Texas.
Oh, that was South Texas. Okay. I thought it was Hawthorne.
Wow. We got a trademark too, and like.
Okay.
Even in the rocket category too.
No, we don't.
Okay, well, I'll have to give you 8 cents.
He'll give us a free podcast appearance.
So are the Starship launches? Those are directly with the Starlink or no?
Yeah.
Those are sending the satellites up into orbit.
So the Falcon 9 rocket that we launch right now is what is able to launch the Starlink version 1 satellites, or technically we're on version 1.5, going to version 1.6. And they're still pretty big satellites. Before they unfold, they're like the size of a sort of a small compact car. And then the Starlink 2 satellites are like, way bigger than a pickup truck. They're like sort of 7 meters long. So the Starlink 2 satellites are too big to be launched by Falcon. They have to be launched by Starship.
How often are the Starship launches?
We've not done any orbital Starship launches, but we hope to start to we hope to attempt an orbital launch in a month or two.
Nice.
So it depends on how the testing goes.
Got it. You guys know what the Starlink is? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I feel like it's not talked about enough.
I agree. Starlink should be talked. So Starlink is space-based internet. So we've got a constellation of satellites. We've got now well over 2,000 satellites. We'll soon have about 4,000 satellites. So we have more satellites in operation than the rest of Earth combined.
Really?
Yeah.
Than any other single company?
Than the rest of Earth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And the download speed is crazy on it. It's not like
Is it available like now, or there's a long wait list, right?
Yeah, Starlink is available now at starlink.com.
But I heard there's like a long wait list.
There's a wait list if you're in like a high density area.
Okay.
So, the Starlink is really best suited if you're in like the sort of countryside or kind of like low population areas. It's like you could be
perfect though.
Yeah, for places that don't have internet.
Alright, maybe another 2-hour lock-in. I don't know what I see. I was being a little pussy bit, nigga. I bet, damn, I look so young, bro. I don't even think it's that I look young. I just look different. Damn, my shit's so lopsided. Why am I so lopsided right now? I don't know why I'm so fucking lopsided.
Like really big, challenging problems.
I need a shit in a toilet. I need a curl. I need a shit in a toilet. I'm gonna take a shit outside. Why is this shit not charging right? Losing battery? What?
Welcome everybody. Welcome to a special live stream on Earth Day. Here we are on Earth. On Earth in a beautiful nature. Yeah. Couldn't do it better for 21 Earth Day.
Yeah.
Here to talk about the launch of the largest prize ever, $100 million X Prize for carbon capture, and here with a very special guest, probably one of the greatest innovators and engineer of our time, the CEO of Tesla, of SpaceX, of a bunch of other companies, and someone I'm proud to call a friend. Elon.
Hey, Peter.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. It's the perfect setting for our conversation today.
Yeah. We've known each other for a long time now.
Yeah. 21 years, I think. It was like 2000?
Yeah. Whoa. I think it was 2000 in like Brazil.
Brazil. It was
actually a similarly nice sort of setting.
Yeah, it was the day of his birthday.
Yeah, Florianopolis.
Florianopolis.
Yeah. You're trying to convince me not to start a rocket company.
No, I was trying to convince you to
to fund the original X Prize
Well,
before I met Anusha.
Yes, but it also like really advised me not to start art company because I'd lose all my money, which I thought I thought you were probably right. So I thought a 10% chance of success, but anyway, seems to have worked out.
I'm sure glad you didn't. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So we're going to talk a little bit about the rules. Try and encourage teams around the world to register for this thing.
Yeah.
Many innovators, students talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is like basically to do something that is, have it be sort of interesting, fun, and ultimately useful, and to spur creative ideas for what is actually the smartest way to take the trillions of tons of carbon that we've removed from the ground and will remove from the ground, from deep underground, and we've placed that carbon in the atmosphere and oceans. Which obviously changes the chemical constituency of the surface of the Earth.
Yeah.
I should sort of measure my statements in that I think the Earth I don't think we're currently doomed, to be clear. Very importantly, there are people all across the spectrum ranging from nothing to worry about, CO2 just makes things better, to we're doomed and there's nothing we can do about it. I am somewhere in the middle. So my concern with CO2 is not kind of where we are today, or even the current rate of carbon generation, but really if carbon generation keeps
Go on, my
accelerating
laptop dying.
and